Just start talking.
Just ease into it.
Just start
Okay.
talking.
All right. Let's see.
I can't see myself until the stream starts.
Hopefully we're okay.
Hey, there I am. Perfect.
Cool. All right. Okay. All right. Maybe we're good.
Can everybody hear us?
Can everybody see us? Can everybody hear us? I was I had everything ready to go, and then computers decided to do updates, and then I did a recording just so I could see it, and I couldn't hear anything, and it was weird. You see on my end on YouTube, it's spinning and loading. So tell me if you get buffering issues, Brad.
Mine's been showing buffering and stuff too.
It says excellent connection, so I don't know.
Also Oakland.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
All right, good. Hey, Philip. All right,
we're just gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Just let us know if problems pop up throughout the stream.
Yeah,
we're gonna be figuring it out.
We literally haven't done this in over a year, so I just hooked everything up like a couple days ago, and I texted Brad and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. So hey, John. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I'm seeing buffering on this side, and I don't know why, but it says excellent connection. So
yeah, and this is
I'm not sure.
I'm wondering how the pencil is going, because my quality on my video is
bad.
low.
Okay, well, what we'll do if it continues to buffer and the quality doesn't get bad or doesn't get better, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Actually, I guess we'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't want it to keep being shitty. So
I drove 45 minutes out here. We're streaming for at least 45 minutes.
Okay. Stream output.
We had this down to a science before.
We did. So y'all just bear with me. I'm just gonna look at some settings and stuff, and you're just gonna watch us fumble through this.
We can ramble for the. Yeah, John says quality's good.
Yeah, just the buffer. Yeah, so I don't know why it's buffering. It says I have an excellent connection. No idea. Streaming.
Yeah, Matt, sorry about the caps. I had some shorts to change into. I just got here super late.
Yeah.
For various reasons, but
just like with everything we do, it's kind of thrown together.
Yeah. If we ever actually planned ahead and didn't procrastinate, we would probably be in a better place than we are.
So I don't know anything about bit rates and stuff, so that'll be something I'll have to discover on another thing. But it looks like every time I get a little red on OBS, it buffers over here. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. If you don't like buffering, then I'm sorry. I don't know what's up. Yeah, Russell's down here eating a bone.
Hey, Misty's in here. Oh my god. That's what's happening. We're connecting to Martin and slowing down.
Yeah, I really wish YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth streaming. Let's see. I don't know.
Video.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, just bear with us, folks. I don't know what's happening. Touch viewer speak series buffer stream status poor.
Nothing running in the background. I mean, I don't.
No, I have nothing. I have nothing running. Connection's excellent. Well, I posted early in the week and I said, come have fun or watch a train. We're about to run off
on the rails.
Yeah, we're about to run off the tracks. I don't know what this means. It's like it says the kilobits per second keep going to 0.
Yeah, I don't know what you changed since last time. And then again, I didn't understand it to begin with. I just showed up and sat on the couch and talked.
Yeah,
that's the service I provide, and I think I did a good enough job.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of messages from YouTube. Not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Yeah, Corey, if you could just disconnect, that'd be great.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know anything about settings. Let's see. Output, recording.
Ian Malcolm, is there going to be art on your art stream?
Yeah, I had an idea.
Fallowfield says his is buffering on the laptop or running on the Roku.
Weird. Yeah, I don't. It looks like it might be something with OBS. Because like right now it's green. It says kilobits per second, 2688, and then all of a sudden it'll drop to 0.
Looks good on YouTube from Bartlett. Who's from Bartlett? Who's HB?
I don't know.
HB. Oh, messages were redacted. Doxed himself.
Hey.
Just like Philip warned us. Philip Pierce. Here's his address.
I don't even know what doxed means.
It's like when you give out information, or like usually like if somebody doxes you,
gotcha.
they post all your personal shit online.
See, and it just keeps going.
Bomb. Oh, there we go.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
That's a bop. That B's a bop.
A bop.
Like you see how mine looks. But
Here.
a lot of other people are saying it's fine.
Weird. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm at a loss. And I would say I would disconnect real quick and just troubleshoot it, but I don't know how long that would take.
You want to try switching to the other cam and see if that picture looks better? Because it's saying like it doesn't have enough video.
It's all through OBS, so it's.
Oh.
And I think now OBS is giving me a pretty steady. We'll see. We're just gonna sit here for a little bit, and we'll see. If it gets to where it's just too much, where it's going to continue to buffer, I'll disconnect and I'll try to figure it out. But it looks like it's trying to go steady.
Go steady. Gave it a promise ring, and now it's going steady.
Oh, there it went yellow. So, okay, we'll see. Yeah, an instant transmission would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're glad to be back too, John. There it goes, it's buffering again. See, yeah, it's every time the kilobits drop on OBS. So it's got to be something with OBS. It's not I don't think it's our internet. I think it's OBS.
Yeah, we were streaming stuff earlier and it looked fine.
Yeah, so okay, so I'll just jump into it, and then if it gets to where it's just too much, you guys tell me, and we'll just stop it, and I'll try to troubleshoot it, and then worst case, we'll just call this a wash, and we'll figure it out for next time. But anyway, welcome back. It's been a year, a good long year, since Brad and I did any kind of stream.
Yeah.
For various reasons. I'm not going to go into all those different reasons, but some good, some bad. But overall, a lot of positives have come out of us taking kind of a break. One being I've lost 57 pounds.
Hey, I've lost 4.
I was watching 4. That's good for you. That's good. I actually watched one of our old streams a couple days ago.
Okay. Which one?
I just chose a random one.
Remember the topic? It was your stream.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I just was watching to see, and man, I was like, was my face really that fat? So, cool. It's nice. I lead a good active lifestyle now. Eating right every day. So it's good. That's one good positive that's come from it. Been drawing a little more lately. Took a big long break from drawing. I think it was a much needed break to take care of myself, to take care of the wife. And Brad took a break, focused on his running and exercising, and what'd you do, 36 miles the other day?
37, yeah.
37 miles the other day, so
I got a big race coming up,
yeah.
So I gotta train.
Yeah, the kilobits are still dropping. Like, and I don't know why. No clue. I'm getting errors, so
Weird.
You remember the last stream we did was the spawn one? And remember how we just stop in the middle and then restart it?
Second attempt, like we hit it,
yeah, and I wonder. I don't know.
test between you and me.
Yeah, it was doing just fine, but so I don't know. Again, if it gets too bad, you guys just post in the chat and tell me like this is unwatchable.
It's weird that the quality on my video is so low.
Yeah, and then see, I keep getting no data, poor data, no data, poor data.
Straight up reloading it.
So
I reloaded, and the picture quality looks good now.
Oh, I don't know. It's still on OBS, isn't it? It's got to be OBS.
Yeah, because now it looks great. Obviously, I can't hear it.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Nathan's in.
Hey, Nathan, what's up, buddy?
Everybody showed up for this.
Yeah, it really makes me sad that it's not cooperating.
Buffer for me.
And then it's going up to like 3,000, and then it's dropping to 1,000, and so it's really not consistent. So I got to figure out what that's about.
I don't know why I'm sitting back here. She says kilobits per second.
Yeah. Y'all are watching tech troubleshooting.
I typed in attempt to work with it. The easiest fix is to go to settings, advanced network, change the box for dynamically change bitrate.
What'd you say? Said settings, so, what?
Settings, advanced.
I don't have an advanced one. Is that in OBS, I guess?
Yeah, settings, advanced, and then network. This is from 2021, so we're working on outdated stuff, but let me know if you find that. If not, I'll try to find it.
Oh, here we go. Advanced.
Network. It says check the box for...
Won't even let me check anything in there.
Really?
Yeah. It's all grayed out.
Oh, it said do it before you start streaming. If you're still having issues...
Okay, maybe I need to stop it and then bring it back. Well, this is quite frustrating.
You want to draw and talk?
Well, I don't want to start drawing.
It says it's somebody using a lot of bandwidth, so somebody uploading a large file, or
we got
actively seeded, or is someone else.
Even so, like we used to stream all of our stuff in here together, and it worked fine.
Yeah,
so.
I love how non-committal this OBS page is. To like OBS Studios is unlikely to be the calls. It's nearly impossible for OBS Studio to drop frames. Like, that's not your fault, bud.
Way to put the blame on somebody else, which it probably is. I definitely don't know what I'm doing.
It says, if you do the dynamic bitrate, this feature will detect when your internet connection is limited and will automatically reduce your bitrate to compensate rather than dropping frames.
Okay, I'm going to stop this, guys, and I'm going to try to come back. So, bear with me. Alright, I'll be back. Let's see if this works.
Start streaming, and that is a crystal clear image up. No, I spoke too soon. It's buffering.
But probably because when I stopped it. Okay, let's see if that did anything. If it even goes back live, I don't know. Hey, okay, so it did.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if this will work, but let's see.
Just caught me chewing on my teeth. my thumb.
Corey's corn Wi-Fi.
Picture looks good. I look good, obviously.
Well, that's a given.
Gibbon.
The Dave Gibbons.
Oh. through that variant cover for Venom.
Yeah, it's still dropping.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there goes the buffer.
Fucking A.
Let me go back to this.
Yeah, it's like, John, when I first connect, it does really well, and then all of a sudden, kilobits drop. Even before I did this, I did a test on our internet speed, and we had really good upload.
I think it says with buffering issues, it says lower your bit rate.
Okay, hold please. Okay, I tried some more stuff. This may be a last ditch effort. If not, I'm really gonna have to dig in and figure this out. And Matt, you're right. I blame Aaron. He jinxed it. He jinxed it. It's like the kilobits stay really steady right now, and then all of a sudden it'll drop. So, let's see. Last thing I want is YouTube to like start sending me messages saying you're gonna get banned. So, what are you reading?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm reading a forum from January and February
Hey, Holly.
this year.
You joined us. We're trying to troubleshoot. It keeps giving really bad buffering issues. So you're watching me and Brad try to troubleshoot this. It looks like it's going to be stable, and then it drops. So I don't want to start drawing, start talking, and then it drops. So yeah, it's doing it again. So
somebody said that. So you got OBS 29, I suppose.
yeah, I had the latest
Somebody
version.
said they uninstalled and went back to 27.2.4, and that fixed it. You have Windows 11?
Maybe.
People are saying the 29 OBS.
I haven't tried turning YouTube off again. I stopped the stream in OBS, and then I started it. And every time I restart it, I'm getting it's staying stable. Like right now, it looks stable, and then it'll just drop, and then it'll go back to being stable, and then it'll drop. So obviously, I don't want to have a stream. And yeah, go talk to the CEO, make it happen. It's probably not YouTube. It's either something with my internet talking to OBS, or it keeps dropping though. So what are you guys seeing now? Are you seeing Ashley saying it's fine, but I keep seeing errors on my end? So y'all tell me. If it looks good, I'll just go ahead and start drawing.
Yeah.
What does it look like on your end?
Looks good. I'm watching. I've been on forums trying to find an answer, and so I wasn't watching, but I haven't seen it for in a sec.
All right, cool. So everybody's saying it looks fine. All right, so what we'll do is I'll just jump in. I'll start drawing. We'll start going like normal. If it just starts getting really bad, just y'all post. Brad will be reading the comments per usual, and we'll adjust as we go. So we'll see. But anyway, that was a really long intro, so thanks for bearing with us. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and jump in.
John said, "Just don't draw fast."
Just don't draw fast.
You're
it's gonna look like time lapse.
You're in luck. Scoot is not a fast drawer.
I'm not a fast drawer, and I haven't laid anything out because I haven't had time to. So, but with this, I do one of these every year. These pumpkin scarecrows every year. And it's just straight from my head, so it's not like I'm having to make it look like a person or something. So, all right, so I'm gonna jump into this. Well, that's a lady death I'm working on, so ignore that.
Well, at least we can see how good the quality looks based off of it.
Oh yeah.
I'll leave it up there for like just 2 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean.
Well, also I'll be zooming in, so.
Yeah, it looks fine.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So again, as we're going, Jell, just tell us if it starts buffering really bad, and we'll adjust. But other than that, since it's been a year,
we'll catch you up on us, and
we'll catch you up on us, and
tell us what you've been doing in this stream. I know some of you. We've kind of talked about some of you a little bit. Know what Ann and Mom are doing, and keep up with Nathan.
Yeah.
John recently started trooping with the 501st.
Which was awesome.
He was in Memphis Comic Expo as his Tide pilot. Did you see he's working on a Tide gunner as well?
Oh, really?
So yeah, or no, excuse me, not a Tide gunner, a Death Star gunner.
Oh, badass.
So that's gonna be super cool.
That is gonna be rad. Okay.
He had me looking at Lone Trooper armor one morning, and I was like, I gotta get off of here. Like, this expensive.
So I still have the helmet you guys got me for my birthday.
Yeah, the Death Watch.
The Death Watch helmet. So I need to finish that.
Yeah, that was a dope one. It's a cool project. You just gotta devote time to it.
Yeah.
My problem with I've got 4 projects I'm always working on, but the issue I have is I don't have a dedicated space to just leave them up. So whenever I'm done, I have to pack them away into their individual boxes.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say, sorry to cut you off. I'm gonna go ahead and say right here, I'm gonna lay this out with a blue pencil real quick, and you probably won't be able to see it, but because I'm gonna do it very, very lightly.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back in with it. So I'm actually for this, and so usually I do a pumpkin, just a straight up pumpkin scarecrow, but lately I've been doing research on how to make a pumpkin sentinel, because I've seen a lot of people do these things called pumpkin sentinels, and they look really freaking cool. So I think I'm gonna go with that. It's kind of similar to a pumpkin scarecrow.
Is it a normal, say a decoration, or?
Yeah, like a lot of people make them in their Halloween haunts for their yard.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna kind of do one similar to that. I think it's gonna be freaking cool.
Other than that, I mean, you kind of were in and out. Any other updates of your life since?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, I took a break from drawing, right, and lost a lot of followers in the process.
That's fine.
Which is fine. But I took some time off to I'll tell you guys the main reason I took off, or the reason I stopped drawing for a while, was mainly when you don't get to focus the time into something that you really want to achieve, it almost becomes more of a stress to do that thing. And so that's where I was not getting to put the time into drawing that I want to I still want to be a comic book artist. That dream will never go away. But at the table and only get to draw for 20 minutes, it became really frustrating. And so I took the time to focus on other things. And to tell you the truth, not drawing for a while actually it took a lot of stress away from me. And I even told Brad, I said, hey, I'm not drawing a lot right now. And it was never like a what for. It was like a okay, cool. It was like a tell me when you're ready, kind of thing. And that's where we've always been with comic book stuff. And but I took the time just because I wanted to work on myself. I mean, to be an open book, man, I think I experienced depression for the first time, for various reasons. Again, I'm not going to go into all of them because that's not what this stream's about, but mental health is a real thing. And if you are experiencing it and you recognize it, the best thing to do is figure out what you need to do to take care of it. And that's what I did. I figured out what I needed to do to take care of it. And unfortunately, not drawing was one of the best ways to take care of it. And then I had, I'd hit 300 pounds, and that wasn't okay with me. And so I just decided I needed to do something about it. And, with doing different like fitness contests with people at work and challenging each other, and then, getting advice from Brad on workouts, and eating right every day. I literally eat a salad every day at work now. And not just because I want to be skinny, but because I actually enjoy it. It fills me up and I'm saving money. I'm not going out to eat and stuff. So,
or worse, not eating at all.
Yeah, or worse, not eating at all, because that's definitely not what you need to do. So made complete lifestyle changes in different areas of my life, and they were all for the better. And it really helped me pull out of a depression I was in. And I'll tell you guys, I mean, y'all saw Russell down here, but you know, Abby died back in March, and that was kind of where I was like, I hit a bottom, because that one really hurt. You know, me and Ashley still talk about it every day because we can't stop thinking about it. But that's really where I was kind of like, I've got to do something to take care of myself, or I'm going to go crazy. And so that's what I did.
And not to, I mean, again, we don't have to spill every detail, but keep an eye on your friends and family, because mental health is something that you should talk about. But I think when it really hit, because we could see you going through a hard time, and we all help each other get through it. But I remember there was some minor holiday where you're using an excuse to hang out, and you stopped by and like grabbed some food and left.
Yeah.
And later, Aaron, I messaged you in the side chat like, "Hey man," and you were like, "Hey, sorry, I just didn't feel like being around anybody." So blah blah. And I'm like, "Hey man, you could have told us. We would have hung outside with you and left everybody else inside." And you're like, "No, I don't want to be around anyone."
Yeah.
And not that there's anything wrong with any of our friends or family, but if me, Scoot, and Bear don't want to hang out, something is up. Something is wrong. I literally have to stop our conversations when we're hanging out and just say, "Hey guys, I gotta go home and sleep. See ya." Because the conversation never lags. We never don't want to spend time together. So Scoot feeling that way, Scoot not wanting to be around his two brothers is an alarming thing. So it's not always he locks himself in a dark room and, you know, is depressed. The depression is subtle and can sneak up on you. And I mean, Scoot, I mean, for your part, you probably didn't even think you were in that state for a while.
You don't. It's when you're the one going through it, it's hard to recognize it. But when you do recognize it, it's, especially for me, because I've always, you know, we've had that conversation where it was, you know, and this is going to sound bad, but we always said, man, I don't see how people can be depressed.
Yeah.
Like, because we've never experienced it. And I'll tell you, I experienced it.
And I think the important thing is you figured it out. And I mean, it took you some time, but you have to figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Some people, that's like you did, diet and exercise helped you get back on track. You started controlling what you could control.
Mm-hmm.
And then it helps you kind of let go of what you can't control.
I think that's a great way to put it. I've decided to focus on what I could control. I couldn't control the fact that I couldn't put more time into artwork, because I needed to spend that time with Ashley, because she's still going. We're still trying to figure out, you know, things with her. And with me being able to just say, you know, I'm not going to draw anymore for right now, and I'm just going to spend time and try to help take care of her and spend time with her. It literally helped pull me out of a stressful situation. So, I mean, moral of the story, take care of yourself.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of controversy if you follow the Last Podcast Network recently, but there's still something one of their hosts, Marcus Parks, says, and he always said that you have to remember that mental health is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. So when you realize something like that's up, the best thing to do is find a solution. And maybe not a solution. Nathan's probably losing his mind at our mental health right now. Our cousin Nathan is a counselor, a darn good one, but it's you should try to take care of it. You should try to figure it out. You should, you know, if that means going and living in a cabin in the woods by yourself, or it means getting up and riding your bike like Scoot started doing, or me, I mean, I'll never devalue anybody's struggle by saying I've gone through depression, but I keep happy through running. And, you know, I can have a terrible day and I go for a run and just everything's okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, man, exercise really, really helped. And like when I get to go on my bike rides in the mornings now, like on my days off, I'm waking up at like 7 and I'm going out on bike rides, and it gives you that time to just be by yourself and just think about things. And
Nathan said, y'all remember it well. You know, and I think it's one of those things where I told Scoot for a while, and it sounded super selfish, was I was like, hey, you need to it sounds bad, but maybe don't focus on Ashley today and focus on yourself, because in order to be healthy enough to help other people, you need to make sure you're healthy. So Scoot's now in a better place to help take care of his wife because he's in a better place mentally. And it's not like Ashley was even trying to drag him down, or even it's just Scoot was focusing so hard. And it's fine every once in a while doing that. It's fine, I'll give up my happiness for a little while, or not even happiness, I'll sideline my issue to take care of this other issue, and that'll
do
catch
it.
up to you eventually.
Yeah, that'll do
it. Probably since you saw a cabin in the woods, maybe not the best idea.
Yeah, man, there's mental health is something that even before I started, having to deal with it myself, it's something that I've always been like, I took seriously, because my other job is I'm a manager at a retail store, which still not fun, by the way, but I've talked to people who are going through stuff, and you have to kind of know how to just be sympathetic, and you don't want to give the wrong advice, because man, the wrong advice could be just as bad. Yeah. So, but I've always been sympathetic to it, and I've always, felt for people that are going through stuff. So,
and for that matter, it may just be chemical imbalance. I mean, I think I saw that, like, I love the Office line where isn't depression just a fancy term for feeling bummed out?
Yes, Jesus.
What you ignorant slut. Like, and something my family, all of our family remember is our dad, like, had a temper, but was normally a pretty happy guy. And he had this memory lapse thing that Wayne Newton did to him. And
that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, and they put him on some medication, and that medication threw something chemically in his body out of whack. And I've never seen my dad go through he went through some wild mood swings, and he would just be lower than low. Call him contemplate, I don't know if he was ever there, but I mean, he would talk about suicide, and we're like, whoa, this is not right. And literally, they took him off that medication, and it changed. So, like, sometimes it's external factors. I don't think Scoots was a chemical imbalance, but again, it's just a reminder that there's so many things that can contribute to something like that. It's absolutely not your fault, and there are plenty of people who understand you, and all your good friends will understand. Like I said, I never take away from what other people have gone through by saying, oh yeah, I've been depressed too. I don't think I've ever had it, but as a friend, I need to understand when my families or friends are going through it and what I can do to help them. Sometimes that's being there for them. Sometimes that's when they say, hey, I can't do this. I'm saying, okay, I understand, and not judging them for that. And that's something you just have to play your role. So watch out for your friends and family. Anne said you can't blame Wayne Newton without an explanation. You're going to confuse people. That's kind of what we bring.
We bring confusion.
Our parents went out to see Wayne Newton. Was it Tunica?
Yeah.
So Tunica would be in like a casino place down in Mississippi from us.
Where the sun beats down from the sky.
Our mom and dad sacrificed so much throughout their life to give us what they could, and give us a good life. So when we finally got older, they finally started going out and doing stuff for themselves. And one of them is they went to a concert to see Wayne Newton. And we were all pumped. We were glad they're going out and going to see a concert. And, they probably didn't gamble because none of us are really gamblers. But they did. And the next morning, my dad wakes up and he thinks, oh, God, he erased it. His memory was gone up. I don't know if he remembered Misty. He might. But he didn't remember our older brother, Brian, or Bear. And gosh, I mean, Bear had to be like in almost 30 at that point, maybe late 20s. And so he lost like 3 decades of his life. And he was perfectly functional. Nothing looked weird.
I remember he looked at was it Buddy, and he was like, who is that? And Buddy was one of our dogs.
Bear, I remember seeing him, like, he was confused because Mom was trying to explain it to him. And then I came in and he looked at me and he didn't know who I was either. I mean, and me and Bear arguably looked the most like Dad, so it's not like we were just strangers. It's people like, who are these people who look like me? And it was weird what it lasts, like not even 24 hours.
Yeah.
Mom obviously was like, "You're not going to work. We're taking you to the hospital." And it was, I don't know if it was just a temporary memory lapse.
Yeah. I mean,
oh, Bear was only 20. Sweet Christmas. That means I was 13.
It may, you remember how afterwards he had to have those 2 carotid arteries operated on, where they said he was kind of having mini strokes?
Yeah.
So I bet it had to do with that.
So yeah, so they eventually were trying to figure it out, and they thought it was oh yeah, he didn't remember his mom died. That sucked.
Yeah.
Bear just brought that up. Gosh, Bear was 20.
Jesus.
So Philip's 23 now. So like, good lord, that was a long time ago. But so yeah, he didn't remember, and eventually, but then they put him on a ton of different medications that they were basically trying to figure out what it was, and that's what caused his depression for a while. And so we were just like saying that like Wayne Newton in the middle, like it became an ongoing joke that Wayne Newton took his memory, and it was just like we were like, well, if you guys go to a concert, it can't be Wayne Newton, and so today it's like he's got some weird like psychic vampirism, Charles Xavier mind wipe power. But yeah, I think what it was is later our dad had a stroke, and when they looked, his carotid arteries in his neck were
90% blocked.
Yeah, 90% blocked, and like he was having mini strokes, and that's what they think caused it. Which cleared up and was okay. Oh, so Mom's coming in. Mom doesn't do the chat, so Sarge's mom came in and said it's transient global amnesia.
What in the hell?
It's from Wayne Newton's first album, but no, and so it's just an ongoing joke between us that Wayne Newton tried to take our dad's memory, and so it's obviously we never went back and saw him again. 1-star review.
We steamrolled some of his albums.
Oh, Bear's on his way home. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but that's very true. But yeah, so Dad struggled with that for the rest of his life, and you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it's weird that he was taking some crazy medication and it but we got him out of it.
Yeah,
that was way before he went downhill. You later had dementia. That's a whole different story.
Yeah,
I think the whole stream knows Dad died in 2020.
I'm surprised you didn't say croaked.
I made sure to avoid it. Yeah.
Brad's turned over a new leaf in 2023, guys.
Yeah. Well, I said croaked, and everybody treated me like I was a demon.
Let's hear my demon face.
Oh, Bears. Wait.
So,
yeah, if you guys don't know, Maggie said cool zombie. I got a friend request from Maggie the other day, which I don't get on Facebook often, but somebody sent me a link, and I was like, who the hell is Maggie? I don't know any Maggie.
yes.
But and Bear's on his way back. They've been touring around like the Arizona, Colorado, Utah. They went up Pikes Peak, Four Corners.
Pikes Peak, just like Dr. Quinn.
Yeah, I went up Pikes Peak and got horrendous altitude sickness. I climbed a flight of stairs and was out of breath, and I was like, well,
that's unusual.
This is unusual. And then like their like spots started appearing. I was like, I'm gonna go sit down and not die. Still very cool. Misty's in the chat from the barn. She's Misty is probably getting ready. She is
horse sister.
True weekend, yeah, horse sister for everybody who knows her. One of these days we're gonna get her on stream. I wrote a quiz. I'll talk about that in a second. Misty, our sister, who doesn't do art and is not a huge nerd like us to some level, but somebody asked me, said they didn't know what being a nerd meant, and I said nerds are just passionate. So we like comics, but we like to get into the minutia.
She's a horse nerd.
Yeah, and so she's a horse nerd. She's passionate about horses, and she's going to World Show for the second time this year in 2 weeks, and she'll be competing in a class.
And she's probably gonna win.
28th. So it's our sister channels her creative energy into a different format, and I've got to say, like, I'm not a big sports guy. We've probably made jokes about it before. I don't know, half the times when we went to a football game for Bear's birthday, I accidentally cheered for the wrong. It shouldn't have been that hard. But I literally have no idea what she's doing with horses out there. I'm like, that horse is big and pretty. I hope it wins. But it's still cool. I like when she comes to the Agri Center and we go. I came in full cowboy regalia once, and it was like tipping my hat to all the ladies, and
Man.
I turned the corner and Misty was like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" So,
Don't invite us. You know what we're gonna do.
yeah. So yeah, he's horsemaster. Yeah, Misty's just riding, clanking swords. Dad, like Theoden. So no, she has a very nice new horse called Faith. Um, but
She treats every show like it's Helm's Deep.
yeah, oh my god. But I said, Misty, of course, is not a huge nerd, and there's this interesting. I listened to a podcast about pub trivia, and they talk about having to know your audience before you make a quiz. And a good example is that if I'm going to make a quiz about Star Wars, I need to make a quiz for Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
I don't need to make Star Wars questions for casual, like for general pub trivia, because I'm a huge fan. I think about it deeper. I know these questions that there's a good like 6-7 people in this chat who would be able to keep up with my quiz, but most of the general populace is not going to get anything, anything deeper than that. And that's okay. And so we had this idea about comics, of what is the baseline knowledge of comics? What is an easy question for comic books? And what is so prevalent in like pop culture and the zeitgeist that people know it whether you read comics or not. So I made a test for when our sister's down here one day. We're going to have her sit in. It's called the Horse Sister Quiz. And it's just all the stuff that everyone in the chat is going to be furious, because they're going to know all the answers and they're all super easy. But it's going to be an interesting dynamic to show, like, to us, this is just base knowledge.
Yeah.
But to someone who's not involved, she probably won't know most of these. And it's going to be fun because we're going to joke about it a little bit. And, but we almost got her for 4th of July last year.
Almost.
And we're going to get her somewhere. What are comics made of? Hopes and dreams, Nathan. Hopes and dreams.
Paper.
Oh, her new horse is Grace. She's right. Because I call her trailer the Hail Mary because it's full of grace.
Full of grace.
Yeah. Grace, I'm so sorry, Misty. But,
So, that kind of led into what I've been doing. So, Brad, what have you been up to the last year?
I'm running a lot. I did my first triathlon and didn't drown. That was fun. I did the Orville Peck. I don't know much about love, but I give it a try now and then. But mostly, yeah, running. Scoot told me at a certain point he was backing off. And that, I mean, as a writer, that doesn't mean I needed to. But maybe because we've always kind of done creative endeavors together, that it didn't feel quite right without him. And it hit at a point where I was just trying to do other stuff. And it gave me a chance to spend a year just focusing really hard on doing these races. And great, like I went back to a race, like the place I did my first 50K, and I knocked like an hour off my time. I did a lot, just all this stuff that was super fun, and I don't regret it. And it gave me like fertile, experiences and time stuff to channel into my writing again. And I think it sounds really boring because everybody always asks me what I do, and all I say is I run. But I also get to go to like dope state parks and beautiful cities and run through these historical areas and meet all these really cool people. So it's a lot more fun, and the community is incredibly supportive and just wholesome. So like these people that I've known for not even a year that I hang out with all the time, and we'll go out and get drinks with, where most like, shoot, our comic community here, there's only like 3 people I'd go out and talk to outside of a comic meeting. But yeah, been running, been feeling good, working out, doing my thing.
Brad often feels like running. Oh yeah.
Our Bear and Lisa had been trying for a while, and we have Oliver Anthony now. He is 1 year old in like a year and a month. He is super adorable. He has a double chin that'll melt your heart. And I mean,
a lot can happen in a year.
Yeah, I guess it comes back to Hype Man again. Like I was happy to talk about your life and chain it together. And it's like, what do you do? I was like, nothing.
Yeah, it was funny because we You know, I had a booth for Planet Comic Con this year.
Hayashi's in the chat. Sorry.
Hey Hayashi, congratulations, man.
Yeah, Corey. If you guys know Corey King, he's been inking Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn.
Gunslinger, yeah.
And Todd McFarlane straight up shouted him out, which I'm not sure why he's still in a chat with us losers, but he still is. So I think we're very helpful, or very thankful that he kept us in there. King of Gunslinger, according to Todd.
King of Gunslinger, yeah. King of Gunslinger. But yeah, congratulations to Hayashi for getting engaged.
Really?
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
Congratulations, buddy. 2025, we're all going to come and crash the party.
24, that's good.
Yeah.
Gives you a good year to plan. Hayashi, if you're getting... if you guys didn't know, our family catered for quite a while. We catered weddings mostly, but we do parties and stuff. Very just seat of our pants, helping out friends, but it kind of evolved into a small business for a while that our mom ran. We cater food, we do flowers, whatever. Basically, we do everything but officiate the darn wedding, basically. And something I tell everybody, I usually don't give out, like, you're not supposed to give unsolicited advice to people. It's usually for the gym, but just in general. But anybody's getting married, I tell them, and the wedding... all that matters is two people, bride and the groom, or the people getting married, the two people getting married, and no one else's opinion matters. Well, your parents want to do this, okay, that's fine. If you want to do it, cool, but don't bend to other people's will, because it's your day, and I don't care who's paying for it or whatever. Your family needs to understand it's your day. It needs to be what you want it to be, not what they want it to be or what they wanted their wedding to be, but now they're living vicariously through you. And we used to tell people that all the time. And you're going to have to give and take. You're going to make some compromises, but keep in mind, it's still your day and no one else's.
Yep. Something about weddings make people just want to make it their own. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, and I think they didn't push back on someone telling them how their wedding should be, so then they decide to force it onto their children. And
Russell,
really, you just want the people getting married to be happy and have a good time. So people to dance, you have to get out there and start. If the bride and groom don't get out there and dance terribly, no one's going to follow suit. Perfect example, Nathan at his wedding, him and his wife had a great first date dance, and then Nathan got out there and started throwing down. And
I danced with some random lady. Yeah. I don't even know who it was.
People were just passing shots.
I was so drunk.
So yeah, it's...
and his unusually hot father-in-law opened up James the bar, and it just got crazy from there.
But yeah, if you want people to dance, you have to get out there and start it. If the bride and groom start it, people will dance behind you. They will follow suit.
Uh-huh.
At work, and her Brad doesn't know who Mackie is. Oh well.
He thought it was a magi.
I think I've hit the age where social media is confusing to me, so I got on Facebook and I just didn't know what was going on. It got ugly at Nathan's wedding. Whatever. We were out there.
It wasn't ugly.
It was interpretive. Maybe it was interpretive crumping. I think it was just.
I got felt up. I got felt up by a guy. It was wild.
It was like a 20, like everybody was left at the end. This massive sing along to "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen. So it was a great party.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And I beat Majora's Mask that night.
Nice.
Not that I remember anything to do with anything.
Majora's Mask on 3DS. On DS, yeah.
She said my fiance had to laugh. Yeah, it's catering weddings was a lot of fun.
I think it's
like looking back on my life, I like experiences where I could just people watch different groups. And so, like, I loved working in restaurants for a couple of years because there's a whole different dynamic of people who come in, and it all changes. Like, people would go out on Sunday and get a little Holy Spirit and come in and be holy pieces of shit to people who work. But then, like, weddings, you get people who are there just to have fun. You got family who hated each other. You've got people who didn't invite any of their family and just friends. You had people who just wanted to sit and have a meal. People who wanted to dance till midnight. Like, I used to be able to tell you, like, within 10 minutes of a wedding reception, I'd be like, oh, we're out of here by 8. and they'd start up, and I'm like, we're here till midnight. You could tell. And then like, I love one time we had a new person come in helping us, and I was like, I know that DJ. He's gonna play these 6 songs, and they played in order.
Yeah.
And I was like, so sometimes the DJ, there's a lot. It's a very interesting dynamic, and so be nice to your caterers and be nice to your photographer, because they are there probably before you, and they are going to be there after you, and they are really trying their best to make sure you have a good day.
Make sure their camera doesn't run out of battery. That's what happened in my wedding. Our photographer had to do a mock thing like we were leaving because her battery was about to die. And that literally ended the wedding because everybody thought it was the real thing.
Maggie typoed and said it's not like we didn't go to Oliver Peck. That would be Orville Peck. But now I'm picturing my nephew with
Oliver Peck is a tattoo artist.
I'm picturing our nephew with an Orville Peck mask on now. Orville Peck was incredible though. Scoot's technically not married because the pastor called him David.
He sure did.
And Corey, oh my god, coming in hot. I ate a bunch of shrooms at my oldest brother's wedding reception. Didn't make a scene like a damn adult. That doesn't sound
That sounds just like a Corey King story.
God, he was telling us about a concert he went to the other day, and it was, I don't know how those sentences connected together. He had to invent punctuation. It was nebulous at best. But
there's sometimes Corey's telling us stories where I'm like, we're gonna go to jail.
Yeah, dude,
like we're going to jail.
He's making us accomplices. Yeah. And that's where we hid the body on mile marker 25.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. Yeah, Scoot and Ashley's photographer was not great. Luckily, we had a bunch of people. We're gonna date you. Scoot's wedding had a lot of people with great digital cameras there instead of phones.
Yeah.
And so we had a bunch of people who took pictures. So me and my girlfriend at the time got everybody's pictures together and printed them out another wedding album. And I gotta say,
it was better.
We spent about $20 on a photo album and probably $10 on pictures.
Yeah.
Put them all together, and it was better. It was better than the professional photographer did, and slightly upsetting.
Hey, but it does lead to a funny thing that we met the photographer and went and talked to her about the wedding at a Danvers. And it's on Germantown Parkway. So we went to this Danvers and met this lady. Well, the photographer is still a sour spot in Ashley's life. Every time we mention it, she gets upset. So she probably
cool. I mean, I still enjoyed the reception. The wedding was very nice. Had a lot of great people were there. That was a good time.
I had a friend dressed up as a dinosaur there.
Yeah, we had a friend, Too Fine Tucker, who asked if he could wear a dinosaur onesie. We said sure, and he sure as hell showed up looking like a dinosaur. It was great. But no, yeah, Ashley said, she was terrible. Let's stop talking about it. So for the next hour, we've got 2 more hours of photographer talk.
Next stream, when we figure out the bit rate problem, we're going to have tons of wedding photos.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my god, that's a great story. So one time I was apartment sitting for Scoot and Ashley, and on their wall they had a bunch of their wedding photos, and they had like a big one of them walking out, which is a great photo still. Even though I think that was one of hers. So, 10 out of 100. But she had a list of or they had a bunch of their pictures on the wall, and they're just random wedding photos. And I'm
I know. Okay, I remember. Okay,
I'm house sitting for them, and I don't know. I guess I'm bored. So I take all those pictures, because I have the pictures as well on my computer, and I take them all, and every picture, I replace every man's head in it with my head, and I replace it. My girlfriend was with me at the time, and I replace every one of the women's heads with her head.
Oh, God.
And then I go to Walmart and print them out. And the best thing is I printed them out, but didn't realize the photo lab was closed. Excuse me. And so I have to go back the next morning, and they have my pictures behind the counter, and they all look really worried.
They look scared.
And so their picture of them leaving, like I replaced Ashley's arm with the Winter Soldier's arm. Scoot had his hand in there, and I had him holding Mjolnir, and then I photoshopped a coelacanth just coming out of the top of it, and I put them in the frame and just left them.
Left them, man.
The only people who knew were me and my girlfriend. It had been 3 months later, and I'll let Scoot take over the story in a minute, but I get a call from Scoot. He's like, dude, all he's doing is laughing. I'm trying to figure out what's wrong. And he finally tells me that I'm laughing so hard I can't talk about it. I'll let Scoot tell the story of the discovery.
So I don't know how long, like he said, I don't know how long they were in there, but one morning I was getting ready for work, and we used to have, where our pictures were, we had above the fireplace this kind of like wall mounted mantle, and it had a mirror on it. So I went in there and I was looking in the mirror, checking myself, making sure I looked fly before, going to Target. And I just happened to look at one of the pictures, and let me tell you, okay, I lied earlier. I have had mental health problems before. And it was from those pictures. So I looked at the pictures, and I literally thought I was going crazy. I was like, what in the hell is wrong with me? And I was like, every picture I looked at, I was like, it's Brad, it's Michelle. And I remember, because Ashley was already at work, and I was like, I literally think I might be going crazy in this moment. And I finally started to, because I didn't recognize who the faces were at first. So I finally recognized that they were Brad and Michelle's faces, and then I lost it. I was sweating. I was laughing so hard. That's why I was like, I didn't text him. I had to call him. I was like, dude, you put pictures. And he was like, what are you talking about, man? I was like, your fucking pictures, man. What you did to our wedding pictures. God, that was the funniest thing, man. That's playing the long game.
Yeah, and it was. I told Michelle, I was like, she would message you like, did they notice yet? And I'm like, I don't know, and I'm not drawing it. We went to parties.
Yeah.
An apartment full of people didn't notice them, and I refused to point them out or even be like, oh, these are good pictures, man. And then, oh, haha, we got you. Nope. He had to find them organically. And
I sure did.
Yeah, it was called the Men with White Capes.
I had a moment of psychosis. Like it was terrifying, actually.
It's like the world didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that, to me, like, I love landmine jokes like that, where you just let them go and leave.
It was like that too. You remember when we still lived at home, and you left for work early one morning. You said, "Hey, when you wake up, turn on the computer."
Oh, and it was an alien photo.
Yeah, and they thought it was an alien, but it ended up being like a hairless sloth they had found. And I remember you showing me that, because they didn't know what it was at first, I guess. And people were like, is this really an alien? And I remember waking up, remembering Brad said, hey, look at my computer when you wake up. And I looked at it, and I was just, all of a sudden, I just started questioning everything. I was like, oh my God, this changes everything. Like, there's real aliens now. Like, I've always believed, but no, here's proof right here. And that's the same moment I had when I looked at those pictures. I was like, things are different from now on.
That reminds me of another great story. So I recently told this one. I've been training with a guy named Tony for this big race. And so we spend hours on the trail together. So I know him pretty well now. Like, I knew him before. He's a good guy, great friend. He's the guy who stopped by our table at Expo.
Oh, cool, yeah. He's a good dude.
Super nice guy. But you're on the trail for hours and hours. You basically just dig up any stories to talk to each other about. And so, if you guys don't know anything, there's a very, very famous alien abduction case called the Allagash 4, where these two brothers and two friends were in the Allagash wilderness. I want to say that's in Canada. I could be wrong.
Matt tells us.
It's somewhere up north, but it's this beautiful place where they were just kayaking from site to site and camping for, I guess, a few weeks. But during a certain night, they were out on the lake at night. They built a giant bonfire, went out on the lake, and they saw this light in the sky, and they thought it was a helicopter, and so they shined their flashlight at it and flashed SOS. And it hit them with a beam, and then they woke up and they were back on the shore. So years later, regression hypnosis and all this stuff, they come to find out. Now, whether this is true or not, it's not part of the story. but they find out that they've been abducted by aliens, experimented on, blah blah blah. So Scoot knows the story because they have a very famous Unsolved Mystery segment about it. And we had out in Millington, when we lived in Millington, the only source of light for like 3 blocks was our Dusk Till Dawn light. And I gotta tell you, when that thing was out, I wouldn't come home.
Dark.
Like,
it was scary.
I drove home once and the power, like that light was out. I was like, I guess I'm gonna go into a hotel. Like, I'm not pulling down my driveway.
Yeah, it ain't worth it.
Every werewolf is here now, and it's unsettlingly dark. Now, a couple of times, like when the Perseid meteor shower come around in August, Scoot, Bear, and me, we would all go outside to watch them. And with that being the only source of light really causing any light pollution, we would want it to be off. So what you do is we don't really have it wasn't a switch, it was just automatic. So what we did is we would take Roman candles left over from 4th of July and we'd fire them in an arc over the top of it. It would sense the light and shut the Dusk Till Dawn light off. And plunge us into pitch black, and we'd sit out and watch these meteor showers. So we were out there one day, we'd knock this thing out, and we had flashlights just in case we needed to see something while we made it dark out there. And we're watching this meteor shower, and I'm like, hey Scoot, what's that light over there? Is that an alien? Or is that a UFO? I was like, hey, I'm gonna point my light at it like the Allagash abduction is. And I point my light at it, and with perfect sitcom comedic timing, I point my light at it, and the Dusk Till Dawn light snaps back on. Immediately, I think I'm getting hit by an alien beam. Scoot and I are clenched up so hard, we could have squeezed a quarter into 2 dimes and a nickel.
Yeah.
It was for the 15 seconds where we didn't realize it was just the light coming back on. It was the greatest fear I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah.
I was joking with Scoot. I made a joke and summoned aliens, and it was hilarious once we figured out what was happening. But at the time, it was just like, I killed us all.
Yeah.
We're all going to get abducted. It was great.
It wasn't funny for like 35 seconds.
Mackie says, in my grandparents' house in Millington, the UFOs visit twice a week at 11 p.m. Sounds like an Animal Crossing reference. Hayashi said in other news he's working on a secret comic project. That's fun.
Heck yeah.
Are you elaborate what you can. Are you drawing? Are you writing? Are you?
I'll tell you this too. In my absence from drawing, I still was following and watching people. And Hayashi, your artwork's gotten really good over the last year.
Yeah. I've been trying to get back into keeping up with our little comic enclave. When I focus on running, I have a separate Instagram account for my running, so I'm just like spamming running stuff all the time on there. And I mostly spent time on there, and I follow a few people from our comic side, but most of it's still on my Run 7 CO. And so I haven't been on there as much, so I haven't been keeping up, but I've been trying to get back into it. I jumped back into one of our big group chats and stuff like that. So it's good to see stuff like I was really impressed when you did the Mutt cover for Aaron. If you guys don't know Aaron, Aaron Thompson, one of our Zafin and
one of our close friends of the show,
our brother from the UK, he successfully funded his first issue of a comic book series called The Muck that he put on Kickstarter and promoted the hell out of it. Did a bunch of podcasts and YouTube interviews. Sadly, I wish we had been streaming. I understand we had to take a break, and you don't regret that. Who cares? It happened, but there are times like that where it's like, man, I wish we were still streaming because we would have definitely got him in and
promoted it.
We could have promoted it with him, and it didn't matter. He still hit his goal. And
did any of you out there back the Muck?
I feel like some people out here did.
Yeah.
But it's a really solid. And when I saw the cover, the Scoot, of course, did a variant cover for him because when you got talented friends and you have a project, you call on them. And he did it. Corey inked it. Of course, knocked it out of the park. He had to wait until he was done hanging out with Todd.
Yeah.
That's what he calls him. He doesn't call
Corey,
him
what's
Todd
it like at the
anymore.
top?
Yeah, and he came down from his ivory tower and slummed with Scoot one more time. But Matt did the colors on that. It looked fantastic.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely great. And our group chat, usually we're all in there being clowns, and Matt will remind us all that we need to do work because he'll post like 6 new colored pieces a day.
I had 35 seconds. I colored this.
Anne said I did. I don't know what she's in.
Back the Muck. She backed the Muck, yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah, there were a few big things going on that he had to compete with at the time, but I think he did he should have done, which is he's like, hey, I've got this in the can, ready to go. Artist is on tap. I just need to pay him. So once I pay him, and the guy every couple of days now, he's like, yeah, he finished 3 more pages. Yeah, he's done with this. Yeah, so he's steamrolling.
Yeah, I don't remember his last name. His first name's Emilio, and he's got cool art. I like his art.
So yeah, lots of good stuff coming. He just printed out some posters of Scoot's variant cover.
Yeah,
the Scoot Corey mat, and
that's
it looks good.
The scat cover.
The scat. Oh God. I'm not part of that. We started talking about vampire erections, and now we're here.
So we talked about the last year. We'll talk about what's kind of kickstarted us right now. So I mentioned earlier that I had a booth at Planet Comic Con, which we weren't able to go to in 2022 because one of our friends got married, and so we rolled over the booth, and then that Planet Comic Con happened basically at the height of me taking a break, and that's when I texted Brad and I was like, hey, I don't this is coming up, but I don't think I'm gonna feel like doing this. And that's when he was kind of like, hey man, it's a wash. I've recovered that money already. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. Let's not do it. So we decided not to do it. And then when it came time for Memphis Comic Expo booths, same thing. I said, man, I don't know if I'm going to be into it. And he basically said, let's get a booth just in case.
It's like $100. It's not a lot.
Yeah, it's like $160 or something like that. He said, get a booth just in case, because you don't know where you're going to be then. And so we got a booth. And boy, am I glad we did.
Yeah.
Because,
what a blast.
Man, let me tell you, that I know we need to go to more conventions, but I have a feeling like no convention will be as good as that one to us.
Yeah.
But that weekend was awesome.
Yeah.
And it wasn't awesome for the fact that we left there rich. We did well. We always do well. But it was the fact that after a year hiatus, to go do that thing that that you love to do, and to just be out there interacting. And it was funny because that's literally the first thing Brad and I have done creatively together all year.
Yeah.
And we didn't miss a fucking beat.
Yeah. So many people were talking about how poorly they did, and I'm like, it wasn't as good as last year. And you got to take a couple things into account. There's some statistic that like a healthy percentage of people who go to a convention are local.
Yeah.
It's, not as many people truck in to go to a convention as you would think. So these people didn't have this convention for 2 years. And so they showed up with heavy wallets. And people were buying stuff left and right. People were making a killing.
Yeah, they were.
Second of all, they had some good guests last year, but they had a bunch of good guests this year. So you definitely, like when the doors opened, from 10 to like 12, we barely saw any traffic.
Mm-hmm.
It was, we saw a few people make, and then about 12 to 3:30, we were hustling. And then Sunday somehow was more profitable. Usually Sunday's just kind of a wash. We're like, shoot, we already did good. Who cares?
Yeah.
And
Sunday was weird, man, because it was like people were just holding on, waiting to spend their money on the last day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's absolutely true. And I think it was great. It's funny how many people came to us and like, hey, I've seen your booth. And y'all are busy all the time. What are you doing? And I always think there's a few things. If you're ever, we're not an expert. We've only done this one convention. And they get up there, and once you're there, you're flipping through them. And compared to a booth that has 15, 20 prints, you can scan that and be done. But these people are there looking through. So it's when you draw them in. And Scoot and I are always talking. So usually when he's drawing, I'm mostly just talking to him about stuff. Like our cousin sent me a video of this guy thrashing Ezra from Star Wars, and I went into a defense mode on him. And so we're sitting there talking, and to me, like, that makes it approachable. So many people sit at a booth and just stare, and man, that's intimidating. Like, it's quiet, and this person's just staring daggers like, please God, buy something. Scoot and I are over there just having fun, so people literally just wander into our conversations and start talking to us. And we always try to, like, make sure people know not to, like, we had a couple of people who were like, hey, this is our first convention. I was like, have you bought anything yet? And they're like, or I was like, is this your first loop? Have you walked the whole floor yet? And they're like, no. I was like, put that down. You're not buying Scoot's art this time. I was like, go make a loop. I was like, you don't buy anything on your first round at a convention. You make a full loop and you come back and then you buy stuff. And we had so many people who laughed at that and then came back later and bought stuff. And I think having two of us there, we worked as a team, always works out well.
Yeah.
And then
People like our honesty too.
yeah, just being normal, just chatting with people, joking around. And I love the one guy who came over. He's like, "Hey, this is my first convention. I did okay, but I'm still trying to learn. And you guys look like you did well." And we were talking to him, and he goes, "Oh, the secret's charisma. Well, I'm screwed."
Yeah,
I was like,
that's the same guy. He has to take a picture of our booth. I was like, man, there's not really anything secret in the setup of our booth.
Hayashi said, "Dude, you guys got to come to Canada soon." Absolutely.
We want to, man.
We had like last year. I mean, we were Icarus. We were flying close to the sun. We had the stream was going off weekly, if not bi-weekly, if not weekly.
Yeah.
We were cranking out pages. We were finishing stuff up. Like we had the second B movie saga that was 8. It's 9 pages now. This is the spread at the end, but we had that ready to go, almost finished. About to print it, gonna reprint the original first story that we did in the anthology because it's out of print now. And we had a list of conventions. We had started getting to where we were listing streams like monthly. We were listing topics because we were having to keep up. Like we couldn't just seat of our pants be like, I've got this commission today. We were doing research and we were getting it all lined up. And then, of course, the kerfuffle happened and you deal with that. But yeah, Canada was. She mentions. So Anne is our sister Annie she's a cosplay guest there, and she judges a cosplay contest and does a bunch of other stuff. Of course, wears a billion costumes. Had a super dope she was Clea, and but she had the cloak of levitation. That's what she had.
Yeah, Sorcerer Supreme Clea.
Yeah, Sorcerer Supreme. Excuse me, specificity. And then but. When she has to go judge the cosplay contest, our mom steps up and runs her booth for her, which is amazing because our parents have always been awesome about supporting whatever we want to do, even if they don't understand it. And mom knows what some of the stuff is on that rack, of course, because she watches. She watches The Mandalorian with us, so she knows a little about Star Wars now, and then she knows a little about comics from being around us. But you've ever wondered where I get my ability to talk to anyone and talk at length, it's from my mom's side of the family. And so my mom will sit and talk to any of these people who come up and just start selling stuff. And it's always hilarious. It's great. It's a good time because it's like this whole row of family that we just hang out and sell comics. I mean, I wish we could do it for a living, but how dope is it we get to do it for a weekend?
Yeah.
I got to hang out with my family and then Kay, who, we've known her so long, she might as well be family. And we just make stupid jokes and sell comic art. It's so much
awesome.
fun.
So awesome.
It's the dream.
So I'd love to look at some more cons because it's funny because every time we do Memphis Comic Expo, people always tell me they're like, you need to go to more cons. Like you guys need to go to more.
I almost think that like we Nathan said, God, yes, the Frenches can talk forever. Nathan was at a wedding apparently where he knew nobody. I was like, pull your French side, just go talk to someone. Like that's all you got to do. You just got to channel that energy. Jumping back real quick, Hayashi said he's writing, drawing, lettering, and maybe coloring with a U because he's Canadian.
Alluring.
And he said it's an anthology. 6 pages long. So hey, that's dope. Scoot and I's first thing was 5 pages, black and white.
Yep.
Scoot and I inked it. We inked it at the first Memphis Comic Expo. And even like, I remember Annie offered to help us, but Scoot and I were in this mode where we had to prove we could do it ourselves. And so I lettered it. Scoot, of course, I wrote the script. Scoot drew it. We inked it. Well, he inked it. And then I lettered it. And I'm sure we talked about that before, but man, I remember being so nervous when they were like, hey, we want to see what you got. And we put your portfolio down. And they had like, because we printed them in like 11 by 17 rather than the normal comic size, so people could look at them on like a bigger scale. And they looked through his pencils and they were, of course, blown away. And then they looked at it with the complete product, with all the lettering and everything. And when like someone, I remember the people were flipping through, and I was like, I look at Scoot, I'm gonna pass out. I'm not doing well with people criticizing our work. And then people laughed at one of our jokes in it, and I think I just like my head came out from underwater, and I just so. Yeah,
that was the first thing we ever finished together. So.
Yeah, she rocked that anthology.
Yeah, man. Rock the pond, as the Mighty Ducks would say.
Yeah, again, Misty, similar to how I go and support Horse Sister and her horsing She came to Memphis Comic Expo and probably thought we were the weirdest people on the planet. It's full of strange people doing strange things, but you're there to support us. That's what we do. I don't know what those horses are doing. I think their outfits are gaudy and ugly. Who cares? We're there supporting each other. If you have a cool family, support what they do. But the anthology, the second 8-pager we did, I've got to get somebody to letter it, and I think I found who I'm going to do. So who knows? That might be out sometime early next year.
That'd be cool.
Game, we just print it and.
I actually have those, and some of you may know, but I have that story, the 9-page story he's talking about, is actually with Ryan Stegman right now. He's going to give me a portfolio review.
Oh God, does he have the first lettering we did?
He doesn't have the full thing. God. He just has the. I sent him the picture. I sent him the pencils, and I also sent him Corey's inks.
Oh yeah.
And the colors, just in case he wanted to see it completed.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that shows a good collaborative effort, because we had Daniel Erm color it.
Yeah, and Daniel's a monster.
He is. I don't understand him. He's just crazy good.
Yeah.
I remember when we sent Daniel the tester page, and we're like, "Can you color this and get back with us?" And he colored and was like, "We nailed it.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can do the rest of the pages," and knocked it out of the park. So it's too good of a piece to not publish.
Yeah. Even with, my artist eye, there's always anything I do, there's going to be something where I'm like, oh, I'd do it differently now. But even so, looking back on those pages, I'm pretty happy with them.
Yeah, and that's something I didn't talk about. So the only thing, I really haven't written much in the past year. I'm still always collecting stories and always writing notes and stuff, but I haven't written a script. I'm actually I've been making short goals to get me back into it. So I'm not trying to jump into the deep end. So like on the back of my phone, I've got a sticky note and I write 4 goals. And when I knock those 4 out, I move on to the next ones. And one of them right now is to finish a script I had almost done before we backed off. But you guys remember our friend Dwayne King Duppy, who does all the beats, he does the albums, and him and I got into we were listening to King Gizzard, and they have a great Western concept album. I was like, man, that'd be fun to write. We should do that one day. And I love there's a couple of things that influenced us, and he wrote a Western album. He wrote an album full of beats themed around the West, around those classic like spaghetti westerns. And we kind of came up with this character together called Raymond Wayne that is an amalgamation of Raymond is his dad's name, Wayne's my dad's name, and he's called the Winchester Kid, which is in honor of our friend Mark Winchester's dad. All 3 of us, of course, have lost our dads, and so we wrote these albums kind of this just kind of a collaborative effort in honor of our fathers. And the first one, I mean, the Raymond Wayne is a mixed race former slave. Like his mom was a black slave and his dad was like the owner. And so the first one is very critical of American history and kind of contemporary America. I don't shy away from that. But what we did is Dwayne made the music and I wrote a script. I tell you, the something good about working collaboratively with people is you have to work in a structure. You can't just have free reign to do whatever you want. And that sounds bad sometimes, but it's actually, I think it can bring out the best product in some arenas. And I sent it to Dwayne and he just sent back, said, dude, this is long. And he's not wrong. It was like 5 pages of text and me just listing these whole stories. And so him and I got together and he just started playing beats and telling me what he thought. And we just started bouncing ideas back and forth together. And I got an idea. I said, hey, I got an idea how to structure this. And we went through and we came up with this 3-act structure with the main character talking for a minute and then a narrator pulling in and doing the rest of it. And it turned out great. I think it was really fun. It kind of gave us both a chance to work together. And then we did a second one in, say, May or April. And our last one, our third one is, well, it's technically our last one. We were only going to do 3. We'll see what happens. But we did a third one together. And on that one, Scoop plays guitar on a track.
Yeah, that's super fun.
Yeah, we were talking about wanting to get in. I remember because I was like, hey, Scoot can plays acoustic guitar. It would work great with the Western themes. And no, Scoot plays electric guitar, and it works.
Yeah,
That song is so good.
It was funny because when Dwayne asked me, he said, "You still want to play guitar?" I said, "Yeah, dude, that sounds super fun." Like as long as I've played guitar, I've never actually recorded anything. And so he sends me the track. He's like, "Here's the one I want you to write some guitar for." So I literally spent like 2 days driving to and from work where I just had it on loop. And I was just listening to it and listening to it and listening to it. And I would just start trying to hum guitar lines like, and I would just start humming these guitar lines. And then I finally one day I just went in there with my amp and I started playing it. Well, first I played it with the acoustic because I thought the same thing. I was like, acoustic, Western, that's going to probably be the best. And I started playing. I was like, man, I feel like I could come up with a banger like metal track on this. And I was like, but I don't know if it'll work with what he's wanting and what he's going for. And so I took the guitar line and I went to my amp in there and I played it and I was like, well, this sounds really good clean. And then I said, for fun, I'm just going to write a metal line. So I wrote it and it's got a lot of palm mute. It's got a lot of, quick strumming and stuff. And it worked. And I was like, man, this is awesome. But then I was kind of hesitant to tell him because it's two different styles of music. And, hip hop and rock have had a history of each other for a long time.
Sure.
But I didn't know if it was what he was going to want, because when I'm writing, I'm so used to writing music as, 2 guitars, a bass, and a drummer. So I'm used to writing it as rock or metal. And I was writing this, and so I'm listening to it, and I'm picking apart his song like it's a guitar line, a bass line, a drum line. So I'm picking apart like it's actually like it's a band playing. And so the first time I played it for him, I took my acoustic over to Bear's house, and I said, man, this is probably not going to sound great because the solo has a lot of bends in it. And of course, with acoustic, I have really thick acoustic strings on my acoustic guitar. So it was really hard to get the bends and stuff. So I said, I'm going to play it for you, though. You let me know what you think. And so I'm playing, and he's like, man, that groove is good. And I was like, okay, cool. And so when he finally, I kept fine-tuning it and fine-tuning it and fine-tuning it. And finally, after Memphis Comic Expo, he's like, man, I need this now. And I was like, shit, I hadn't practiced. And so he comes over, and we banged it out in about 3 hours. And some of the solo I literally wrote on the spot.
Yeah.
As we were going, I was like, man, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. And so I said, look, I've got this metal line, and I really like it. I was like, so let's record it. Let's hear what it sounds like. And if we don't like it, man, it's cool. We can just leave it out. I don't care, because we had already recorded the solo at that part. And I was like, man, I'm super happy with this solo. And so we play this metal thing, and then we play it back, and both of us are like, holy shit, this sounds awesome. And so yeah, it was super cool to be able to do something different, because I didn't go to college because I was going to be a rock star, and this kind of let me live out a little bit of that fantasy for a little bit.
Yeah, and on my end, like, after I realized how, I don't want to say how little, but basically how little real estate I had to tell a story, it changed the dynamic of the story completely. And it's interesting where it's almost like I love Reddit's 2-sentence horror stories, where you literally tell us, you write 2 sentences and it tells this whole story. And that's almost how you had to be. You had to cover a ton of ground in basically 2 parts per act. So there was Raymond Wayne, who would have 4 paragraphs of text that aren't big paragraphs explaining what he's doing. So I had to explain from how he went from like being born a slave to how he escaped being a slave and why he was going north, and then all in 3-4 paragraphs. And it hurts my brain because I usually will go in and I will just dump everything. Like, I'll dump all of my thoughts, and I'm like, this is too much. How do I simplify it? And it's it sort of reminds me of Eames talking in Inception, where he's like, it's not about the idea, it's how you take the simplest version of an idea. And so, like, the second album's all just like, the first album's his story leading up to how he ends up being the Winchester Kid. And yes, Nathan's right, show don't tell. And there's the second one is him going against this outlaw, and it was all based on this monologue I wrote about what makes an outlaw scary, and how much action do you show, because I can't sit and explain a gunfight because a gunfight's going to take pages and pages. So you allude to gunfights, or you show parts of them, but then you skip over them and then filled in the void with other stuff. And so it's unlike anything I've ever written before, and I had so much fun doing it. And the last one we just did, so the last one will release on Halloween, our dad's birthday, and of course Halloween, obviously. Maybe when we stream after Halloween, Dwayne will let us play.
Yeah.
We could play at least a song that you worked on.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun. We don't need to do the maybe if I have a favorite part that I contributed to, we can play that as well. Like play one at the beginning, one at the outro. But I think you guys would enjoy it, because Dwayne it's bonkers how much he pulls into these. And like, to me, him calling them beats almost sounds like he's downplaying how fantastic they turn out, how artistic they are, how musically just great it is to sit and listen to.
It's funny when I listen to those Raymond Wayne albums, because I when I first heard it, he uses an AI voice to do the parts Brad wrote, and at first I thought it was somebody actually recording it, because it sounds really good. But when I'm listening to it, and then it goes into the next track, I'm like, man, that's exactly like it's almost like you picture a movie in your head.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's exactly the music that I would want to hear after hearing whatever part was just read or supposed to be him talking.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how he captures those feelings with just what you would think might be just simple beats.
Yeah. And I'll say, like, the first and third album, I definitely listened to music he sent me and listened to it now I listen to a bunch of different stuff. I listen to some of these like spoken word dramas that are put over music that I really enjoy. And I listen to like a range of music. Like I went from like Orville Peck to like 3-6 Mafia to like weird punk rock. And it's just these things that, like, you don't need to just do one genre, because none of us are behaving in the genres we're supposed to be in. And so, but I still listen to the music. But the second one, I didn't listen. I think he sent me the music, but I'd forgotten about it, and I had to bang that thing out in one night. And I had the story kind of working around in my brain, like rattling around. So I pumped it out super fast, and so I didn't get to listen to it until he had finished it. But the last one, so the first one is the origin story. The second one is an outlaw pursuit tale, basically a revenge tale to some degree. And the third one is something I'm very uncomfortable with, very outside my wheelhouse, and it's a horror story. And it just kind of worked. Like, I had the idea in my head, and kind of like this like idea seed that planted and just grew into this tree that I think turned out pretty great, because it's probably the closest I'll ever get to horror. So it's like horror light and horror adjacent. It's not, no one's gonna lose any sleep over it, but I think it's kind of Twilight Zone-ish, where it's suspenseful and it makes you think, and it might worry you a day later, but it's not gonna make you like jump in your seat or be scared to go to the bathroom at night. I think it turned out, and I'm telling you again, having people like criticize my work, or not even criticize it, but just review it. It's a tough thing. And I sent Dwayne the script, and I basically just stopped looking at my phone for a day. And then a day later, he's like, "Hey, are you done?" I was like, "Yeah, man, you've had it for a day." He's like, "Oh, I'll read it in a second." I didn't hear from him for over a week. And then finally in the group chat with Scoot, he was like, "I'm excited about this script. Brad did a good job." And I was like, "Oh my God." Like, just the relief that washed over me.
That man texted me separately. It was like, Would you say like I've unclenched like a
I feel like
2 week long?
Yeah, absolutely. I it was just like the relief because I mean Dwayne's music's good and I enjoy it and I think I'm a good writer, but I I, I told him I was like, you're gonna have to tell me when you start putting the lines together because I'm gonna continue to edit it until I'm done or until you tell me to stop. And there were a few things. I made a few changes. Just I think the ending the first time was a bit too simplified. It revealed too much, and so I went back and put a few more questions in and made it a bit more open to interpretation, which is good.
Yeah.
It's not lazy in this point because it's meant to make you think about what happened. But
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. So maybe
yeah, it's gonna be super. I listen to the song in my car a lot now. The one that I played guitar on, and Dwayne texted me. He was like, "Hey, I've got a more mixed version," and I'd never heard that. And so he did all that mixing without me.
Yeah.
And all I did was just give him some suggestions on what I thought. Guitars, this needs to be louder, or the distortion's a bit too crisp here. Let's muffle it a bit, or the reverb on the solo is too much. Let's go in a different direction. But fun stuff.
So it was basically the only writing I did for a year, which is why I brought it up. But it also kept me thinking about stories, and it's basically like the Hayashi dipped out. Good, be safe, Hayashi.
See you, man.
We'll see you again soon. But it kept my wheels spinning to where now I'm back and I was reading some stuff. And I remember I sent Scoot something the other day. I'm always super critical. Like most artists, everybody's critical of their own stuff. But I remember I sent Scoot something. I was like, man, I read something I wrote. It was really good.
Yeah.
Like, I really am happy how that turned out. I've got to get that in a book soon because it was like a piece of dialogue I wrote for a series. And so I've been charging back up and getting ready for that. And I've been talking to Kay because it's the book we're going to do together. Their schedule clears after I think October is when Kay said that was happening. But I've been talking to her and just throwing ideas back and forth.
That's good.
Just kind of keeping it going, and
so
not coming out the gate with a bang, but we're just trying to
get so even like I said, like on the description on this video, or the description on this video, I think I put in there something like, is this the beginning of us going back to biweekly streams? Who knows? I would like to say it is, but at this point I can't tell you yes or no. But I can tell you some things will be happening more frequently.
Yeah. I think that's like, we got back and remembered why we did it and why it's so fun. And I mean, my original characters call out to me and need to be brought to life. So I think that's what we work on.
Yeah.
That's what I told Scoot. I said, hey, first thing to do, let's just get back to streaming. I mean, you got commissions.
Yeah.
Put them back on screen and
yeah. And I was gonna do a commission on this one, but I said, man, I'm just gonna do something that's non-focus. It's just, I mean, it's Halloween season. It's my favorite season.
Yeah.
And I do one of these every year, and not that I don't have to think about it, but this is pretty mindless for the most part. It's just I can just do a random line like this, and I can just turn it into something. So it's not like where I have to, draw Rhino or draw somebody and make it look like something. It's just, this is whatever I want it to be.
Yeah, we're talking. Aaron already said he would, if we can get this, we got to get the stream steady again. Make sure things, quality and everything's up to snuff, and then we're gonna Skype or Zoom or something.
European Zoom.
So yeah, we're gonna get him in here to talk about his book, even though he's successfully funded. I still want to hear him. He did a couple of podcasts, and we talked to Aaron for years now. I have his first art commission he ever did. He drew the Century for me, and he drew Captain Britain as a bonus. But I think I'm still supposed to draw him Captain America and send it to him.
I still have the Swamp Thing that I drew for him.
Oh, he doesn't know you drew that. Oh, wait, no, we did that on stream.
Yeah, we did that on stream.
Okay. We drew something for Matt that we haven't sent him that he doesn't know what it is. Seaborn.
Seaborn.
But
Don't get excited, Matt.
Aaron's gonna come on, and I listened to a couple of podcasts because we always talk about stories and we throw stuff back and forth. Him and I nerd out about Percy Jackson and the Olympians more than almost anything, but that or John Allison's comic like work. But he talking on those podcasts, hearing him convey what his story's about and talk about what inspired him and where he wants to go with it was so interesting.
Yeah.
And
not to mention he has that perfect English accent.
Yeah. We will not try to mimic because it'll be offensive. But there was even a couple, I listened to one where I was like, the interviewer in here is not the best, and Aaron made it good.
Yeah.
So it was really like, I just want to bring him on here and have him talk, and then maybe talk in real time about Transformers '86 movie.
Yeah.
That's normally, him not being in here is the only reason we're not talking about that movie.
Man, I'll tell you, if any of you haven't, you need to pick up Daniel Warren Johnson's new Transformers series. It's going to be awesome. It is so good.
Holly said that this is for her mom?
Her mom usually buys the pumpkin scarecrows, so there's only one other person that gets first choice on this stuff, and that's Ashley, because we love Halloween.
Yeah, you should have a picture ready and show him your headless horseman.
Oh yeah, our Halloween decorations are in full effect. Can you see? Yeah, you can't see the window over here. You have an orange light in our window here because I made cardboard cutouts of ghosts in here and pumpkins in another one. So our Halloween is in full effect, and I made a big cutout of the headless horseman that is sitting against our house right now. It has orange lights behind it. So it's pretty cool. I think I'm just gonna black this whole cape in.
In doubt, fill it with black.
Yeah.
Corey taught us.
Make it look like creepy cloth. That's what they call the old worn out fabric, and you see on like Halloween aisles. It's called creepy cloth.
Oh, okay.
And I've been I contemplated actually inking this one and just going straight to inks instead of doing pencils, but because I've been trying. People ask me a lot at the con to ink, and
the solution to that is just we got to get Corey to a convention at some point, because it would have been so amazing for you if you were like, yeah, I'll do this commission and then it's this much extra you got to pay him. I mean, Corey could have afforded his own booth how much you were inking.
Yeah.
And then just hanging out.
Because don't get me wrong, inking can be fun. When I'm doing quick sketches, it's fun.
Sure.
But for the most part, I believe I even said it at the con, I said, I don't know why I don't do this, because I just don't enjoy it.
Yeah, that's fine. And you can tell that Corey does enjoy it and puts his energy and time into it. I mean, obviously he's king of gunslingers. So. Yeah. King gunslinger spawned. He spawned.
What we got? 15 minutes? Yeah, I'm about done here. I'm drawing off panel. Shit, sorry.
That's okay. It was giving us a good look at the detail. I think Holly had a zipper break in her Spider-Gwen Sentai suit. Had a
backup
casual scientist Gwen, and then was carrying her box around that said schoolwork that somehow was accidentally a prop. That's something I didn't talk about. At Expo, so we met Jim Chung. That was super cool. He was so nice, and I got to talk to him about working with Jonathan Hickman, who, of course, I'm a huge fan of. And he was so nice, and he signed my book for free, personalized it to me, of course, because that's what I wanted. But I met, I went up to him, and I got to him early, probably a couple of minutes after the convention opened, because I was like, Scoot, we're going to be slow for a minute. I'm just going to go try to meet him. And I went over there, and first thing I see is this dude with a dolly with like 6 long boxes full of comics. Like, you gotta be kidding me. I gotta wait behind this dude, and I'm just patiently waiting. And he's like, "Oh, can I help you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting for an autograph." He's like, "Oh, me and him are signing stuff for, I think he supports the Hero Initiative."
Yeah.
And he was signing books to sell for that. He's like, "Yeah, no, so I can help you." And I was like, "Oh, well, I just want a signature." And he's like, "Oh, that's free." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I just sign it. Can you put it to Brad?" And I was like, this was my first exposure to your work, was you drawing Infinity with Jonathan Hickman. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, it was a great time." Which, now thinking back to it, I think I read some other stuff first, but that's the first thing I really remember. And if you haven't read that, his fight he draws between Thanos and the Black Order, what's left of them, and the Avengers, is just fantastic. It is probably one of the best comic fight scenes ever.
Jim Chung was a master. He is a master.
He was like, "Oh, thank you very much." And I was like, "Can I ask you, how was it working with Jonathan Hickman? I'm a huge fan." And he said, sometimes you have to read his scripts a couple of times, and sometimes you have to get him to explain the whole picture, because he thinks big, but once you understand, that's where his genius is revealed." And he's like, "And I was so lucky to be part of that." And I was like, "Man, what a swell dude." Then Scoot and I went back over later.
Took a picture with him. Because I bought it from him. Bought a Red Sonja print from him.
Yeah, we talked with him for a bit and hung out. He was just the nicest guy. Then we talked to Mike McCone for a minute.
Yeah, couldn't afford any of his beautiful artwork.
But... Yeah, but man, one of the highlights is I met the voice actor for Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah.
And I took him a piece of Courage art I had drawn, and went over, and he had like all these cool lithographs, and there were probably like 3 people in line waiting for him to come back. He went and took lunch, and he came back. He's like, "Sorry for making you wait, guys." And yeah, man, it's cool. You got to eat. And he comes over and he starts talking to me, and I was just like, "Yeah, man, I've watched this show since I was a kid. Loved it, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Oh yeah, thank you." And he's so nice. And he's just like, signing this picture for me. He's like, "You drew that? Very cool, man. That's awesome." And then he said, he started going to the voice. So like, he was like, "You mind if I keep signing this?" And I was like, "Dude, do whatever you want." And he wrote above Courage's head, "All the things I do for love." And like, he started going into the voice, and he wanted to come out from behind the booth and hug everybody. And like, he was just such a swell dude. He was, everybody he came up with, he had the energy for him. He had the time for him. He sat and talked to him. He listened to him. He signed whatever they wanted. He did. And I mean, like, of course he charged for a signature. He's a voice actor. He has to charge for his signature. Jim Chung's not charging for his signature, because he's charging for those head sketches he's doing.
Yeah.
And he is making
bank. That bank.
But yeah, he was so cool. Like, I got to meet Courage the Cowardly Dog, and it was just like the highlight of the week. It was so good. Yeah, Holly pointed out that he was across the aisle from Ann and Holly at Corinth Con, which
nice.
And all was talking about how he was just like going in and out of the voice like crazy, and like, I don't know if he knows he's a legend, but he didn't let it show. He didn't let his ego show. He was so much fun.
Did I lose my eraser?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh well, who needs it?
Yeah, just don't mess up.
I'm already done.
No.
I was gonna do it to clean up some of the blue line, but
I'll leave it there.
All right, so let's sign this junk.
Look at that. We made it through. We did it, R2.
Then I'll bring it up close. Fun stuff. I love Halloween. I love pumpkins.
And
drawing. So it was very much right up my alley.
Bit of a rocky start, but it seemed to mellow. We'll do some troubleshooting before the next one.
Yeah, I'll definitely do some troubleshooting. Let's bring us back up here. Boy, that's 2 handsome gentlemen. I'm gonna do the old Stegman lean back.
After being up all day and running, and then
all right, so
happy to be here.
How much did it buffer, guys? Did it buffer a ton?
When I after we got into it, I saw like 1 buffer, and that was about it.
Yeah, I every once in a while I'd peek back up and I would see the the bit rate dropping. Oh, that blocks Brad. Sorry, I was blocking you with my
It's all good.
bicep.
Oh.
Because I have a bicep now, guys. Y'all wouldn't believe it. Okay. Look at that, 8:52. Like we never stopped. Even when we had like a 30-minute long intro trying to troubleshoot. So.
Tell Scoot my mom wants to discuss the other scarecrows with him.
Okay.
But gosh, if we hadn't had that long intro, this would have run short almost. We'd had to do some other sketch.
Yeah.
But the takeaway from the night is good to be back, good to do art, and remember always to take care of yourself and make sure your friends and family are okay.
Yeah.
Because
the
world sucks sometimes.
As Jerry Springer said, take care of yourself and each other.
Yeah. A good one.
R.I.P. Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
So other than that, Holly, we'll discuss it. Still not sure what's gonna happen with that Collins picture. Other than that, minus the troubleshooting and all that and the buffering, and which I'll try to figure out before the next one. It feels good to be back doing something creative, and me and Brad were pumped to get back and doing this. And like I texted him earlier while I was at work, and I said, "We still on for tonight?" And he's like, "Fuck yeah!" So,
yeah, absolutely.
Super fun. Glad to be doing it again. Hopefully we can do more steady ones. I know Christmas is coming up at work, and that usually complicates things, but
my slow season.
Yeah, it's Brad's slow season with his running, but it's busy season for me at work. But mentally and physically, I feel like I'm in a good place, and I feel like I'll kick this Christmas season's ass. So hopefully I'll keep doing it. So other than that, you got any closing comments?
Nope.
Cool.
Good to be back and just
good to be back. Yeah, we'll post up when the next one's gonna be. Not sure when it'll be, what it'll be. But there's the bark. You guys miss the barks. I know I miss Abby's bark. But I forgot my thought. Anyway, go out there, read some comics, take care of yourself, take care of those around you, all that good stuff. And if you ever need a friend, you got a friend in me.
Oh.
What Toy Story taught us. So other than that, we'll see you guys next time. You can throw it up.
Oh, might be.
Throw it up. See you guys.